NFL divisional round. We'll talk about that. Plus Mike Zimmer coming up next on the Wincinnati podcast.
It's an exciting time to be a Bengals fan.
Welcome to the Wincinnati podcast. I'm Ace. He is Zim. We are here to talk some Bengal subjects, but we are going to get into the NFL divisional round of the playoffs. We kind of recapped that last week. This show is powered by BETUS. Shout out to them. They're doing their thing right now. They actually got a casino going on right now. So if you like blackjack, you like anything roulette, they've got all of that over at BETUS. If you want to bet on some of these divisional round games, you could do that as well. Make sure that you guys take full advantage of what they have going on over there. But before we get into it, partner, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I was listening to the intro music just now. I love the intro music. You know that I never really speak about it on the show. I saw somebody make this comment the other day, and I wanted to ask you, do you agree with this? They said that the music is synonymous with our season. Like the somberness of it, where it's just like this chill little vibe where like, we didn't really.
Yeah, they was chilling to start the season. but,
I mean, we're chilling at Cancun.
The end of it, like you said, I think I said that one time where it was like, I'm like, yeah, that is synonymous with the season. We mad at the end.
Yeah.
We mad at the end.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I heard a beat today though. I was like, oh yeah, that's the next season. We're coming back. Like we're going. Like I heard a beat earlier. I was like, bro, we coming back next year. We're gonna go like this. It's all it's crazy. I just, I'm starting to look at draft prospects. So I've been doing that too. So we're gonna start getting into that pretty soon. We ain't that far away from draft talk. So make sure y'all
we're not
get locked in.
Yeah, for sure. Especially Senior Bowl. Right around the corner. So let's get into the first topic of the day. Mike Zimmer was actually questioned about the Cincinnati Bengals position. Now, from what I've read, according to this article on Cincy Jungle, doesn't seem like he said that Cincinnati hasn't reached out to him, but he definitely said that he's open to returning to Cincinnati. He'd love to coach there. He said that they're top two of the teams that he would want to be in. Dallas is another one. Obviously, he was a part of the Dallas staff, but with Mike McCarthy getting let go, that leaves an opening, and then he still has a home in Cincinnati. So his offseason base of operations and stuff like that, that's in Cincinnati. He was very thankful for the Bengals being nice to his son as well, Adam Zimmer, unfortunately, who passed away in 2022. So RIP to him. But he was very grateful for that. He actually was also close with Lou, so it's interesting to hear that him and Lou kind of talked with each other. Lou kind of asked him some football questions, how he used to run things around here. So, and apparently some people also said from the article that he would help the Bengals with their defensive coordinator search as well. I think that if we could get an advisor role for him, like we kind of talked about on the last show, that would be ideal. But what were your thoughts on Zimmer? And most notably, what were your thoughts of him saying the Bengals haven't reached out to him yet?
I thought our last show, we talked about Zimmer, and we talked about, I think that was a product of the people saying, this is what we want, and these are different names, and I don't know where Zimmer's name popped up at, but it's a product of all those things, and I think Zimmer represents a couple of the key points that I'm talking about. It's like guys that have, skin in the game, that have had success. You go back to one of his best defenses in like 2012, I think was like ranked 6th. So you had a lot of different things that Zimmer could, and he was a head coach, and he was a pretty damn good coach for the Vikings for a good amount of time too. So you have that, and he understands the heartbeat of what we're trying to accomplish too. So it's just not like some weird outsider that you meet on the internet that wants to tell you everything about the Bengals and they don't know shit about the Bengals. Like Zimmer actually knows about the Bengals. So I value him. I thought some of the stuff, I always think about those double the AB gap blitzes and with the middle linebackers, and I think about that style that we came with, and I think he's got the horses to do so. The other name that dropped off today was Wink Martindale, and I didn't like that name at all.
It never made sense.
Yeah, it never made sense. There was a lot of people that were on for it, but I think that Wink hadn't had the level of success of Zimmer, and I thought that we knew firsthand how to exploit that. I think there's ways to exploit what Zimmer is doing, like you pointed out in the last show. He got cooked sometimes, you know what I mean? So it's different things, you know, but I think for what we're looking for, though, we're looking for some stability, honestly. I don't need, or at least I'm going to speak for myself. I don't need somebody that's going to come in and be like, I'm changing the whole thing around, and this is what we're going to do, and we're going to blitz it, we're going to go 100 miles an hour. Like, I don't need that for real. I just need a guy that's going to say, we ain't giving up no big plays. We're going to stop the run, and we're going to be top 15, and I ain't been in no breaking, but if you get some yards on us, cool. You're not scoring. And that's all I really need for real. Like, I just need them to make sure that they give Joe Burrow a chance, and that's how I look at the defensive coordinator. And I think Zimmer can give you some of that stuff, and like you just said, maybe in the advisor role. Like, that's good enough for me.
Yeah, it was reported that I guess he shot Zach a text saying that he could help them out with the defensive coordinator or probably get him some suggestions. So I think that that's dope that, you know, he's doing things behind the scenes to try to help the team out. So, yeah, I would love to see Mike Zimmer in some kind of capacity on this Bengals staff if possible. We'll see how things go. We'll see with his name being out there now if that's going to be a possibility. But let's go ahead and get into some of these divisional round games. We talked about Wild Card Weekend last show. We got a couple of different matchups here, so we're getting them pulled up here. This is crazy.
You want to start from the least attractive matchup to then get to the sexiest matchup?
Yeah, let's go with what do you think is the least attractive?
I think that would have to be the Rams matchup, right?
Rams Eagles?
I don't know. I think that. Yeah, it would have to be one of those NFC ones. Like the Rams Eagles to me is the least intriguing to me. I think the Commander. All right, let's start with the Commanders game. Let's start Commanders.
Commanders Lions. That's how I don't know if there's any ugly ones here, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Well, let's just go through it. The Commanders are the biggest dogs of the weekend. So the Commanders coming in as a 10-point underdog in this game. Nobody's giving them a shot to go win this game.
That's crazy.
And I kind of believe it. For the most part, I just think that the Lions, like now, David Montgomery's back. They're talking about a couple guys getting more healthy. I just feel like that offense is going to put up points. Will they be able to stop Jaden Daniels, though, is the thing.
Right.
So, I don't know. What's your overall feel on this game? Like, what do you think is going to go on in this game? Explain to me how you think the matchup's going to go.
Yeah, I think when you talk about the matchups, it's going to be Jaden Daniels, right, in that Commanders offense who's been hot right now. Cliff Kingsbury's doing his thing versus Ben Johnson. And I think that Detroit offense, right, like this is going to be, I think, a high-flying game. You talk about two really good offenses according to PFF. Lions are second, right, or fourth. Commanders are ninth, right? We're talking about two teams that can score the football. We're talking about two teams with a lot of weapons. When it comes to Jaden Daniels, he's using his legs, right? And I think it also comes with the fact that they're going to try to run the ball, which includes him as well. So, how does Detroit's defense combat that? Now, Detroit's defense, in my opinion, they've been solid, but they have been susceptible to getting scored on. They're not like an elite defense by any means, right? Like they did lose Aiden Hutchinson, who was a big part of that. They did gain DJ Reader, who's going to be able to help them against the run. They do have some solid guys. Now, Terrion Arnold has struggled at times during the season. Kirby Joseph is playing some of the best ball at safety, right? Branch, they also have who's able to kind of play that nickel role a little bit and get on some of the slot receivers. But do they have someone for Terry McLaurin? And I think that's the question that I'm looking at in this game. You also have Austin Eckler who can do some things. So I look at this as a high-scoring game. I don't think that it's going to be a decisive thing where they're just going to win by 10 points, because I do believe that the Commanders could score now. They only scored 23 last week, but I think we've seen them put up points in bunches. They also have Zach Ertz. Don't sleep on him. Diami Brown. Zacchaeus. So they've got some guys over there. I just feel like Detroit right now, like, I'm going to take the analysis hat off and I'm going to just go off of the vibes and the feel. And I just feel like this is Detroit's year, bro. Like, this is – a lot of people felt like it could have been last year. I think they took what they did last year. They used that as motivation and fuel. And for them to go out to the divisional round, that would be a disaster for them. You know, so I think I'm going with Detroit in this one. I just think that what they're playing like, and especially like if you're saying Montgomery's coming back, that's going to be a big emotional kind of pull for them. You're also talking about this being in the D. Like, Detroit doesn't play around. I don't know if people like realize it, but they got a diehard fan base there. They've been through a lot of ups and downs over there. The city is behind them. They make songs every week about this team. They kind of remind me of Bengals fans in a sense, by rallying those guys. And then you talk about Amon-Ra St. Brown. You talk about Laporta, Jahmyr Gibbs, like J-Mo. Like, the offense is kind of loaded over there. And I don't know if these teams kind of mirror each other, because I don't know if the Commanders' defense is really a shutdown defense either, right? Like, they've got some players, but they can be exposed to. So I'm going to take Detroit in this one, but I'm going to shift it back to you. Like, you in the city, you in the DMV area.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the vibes in this game? You obviously know ball. So what are your thoughts on the chances of the Commanders versus the Lions?
I think the Lions should win this game I would think comfortably. I thought last week Jaden Daniels did have a couple spots where he kind of fizzled out in the middle of the game. Like, there was 2 drives that he didn't convert, but then he comes back. Remember, the Bucs have a crazy front. The Lions did too up until Aleem McNeil went out, for the season, which I think is a very, very important injury that happened to their season early in the season. I did want to touch on a couple of different points, though, about the Washington defense, too, though. They have currently the 13th total defense in the NFL, 18th scoring defense, but they have the 3rd best passing defense. They only allow 189 yards a game. As far as sacks, they're at the top of the league. They're tied for 11th. Their rushing defense is one of the worst in the National Football League at 30th. Allowing 137 yards a game. So I think Detroit can beat them up front. I think them throwing, and then you now add Marshawn Lattimore to that secondary and everything like that. I think that it could pose some problems for the Lions if they want to throw the football against them. But yes and no. I've seen teams throw on the Commanders, so it's kind of tricky with that one. You got to think, too, the Lions aren't a big sack team either, too. They're tied for 23rd, I think, in the NFL as far as sacks go. They have the better rushing defense at 5th in the National Football League. Their scoring defense is 7th. Their passing defense is 30th. So, see, a lot of contrasting styles could hurt either team in this game, where you have one team that can stop the run pretty well in the Lions, and then the other team can't in the Commanders, but they're better against the pass. So that's what I think makes the game look a lot closer than what I think or what people think. In DC, in Maryland, currently right now, in Virginia and DMV, I will say this: if people think that I talk trash, you ain't seen nothing yet. Okay. This is where we at. You know what I'm saying? Like, even when I think about like my father and everybody that's around here that I know that are Commanders fan, yeah, they talk that. They just haven't won enough for people to know that they're going to talk that cash money stuff. Now, there is a little bit of a nervous energy against for the most part, but there are a lot of people that I know that just don't care. They're just like, yeah, we could talk it. And remember, this is an organization that has Super Bowls. So they ain't like they sitting back and saying, yeah, bro, we're just happy to be here. They're like, yeah, bro, like, we should beat them. And the belief is that they're confident. Commander fans that I know are very confident. So the vibes over here are, we're gonna pull up at whatever tailgate. We're gonna drink, and we're gonna put our left hand up and we're gonna turn up. And they don't care about none of that other stuff, none of that. This isn't that feel good story stuff they show you on TV. Like they with the shits. So I low key kind of want
left hand up season.
Huh?
It's left hand up season.
It really is, bro. They make fun of that, but at the same time, they like, yeah, left hand up. What's up? Like, you know what I mean? Like they don't care about stuff like that. And it is kind of fun to see them, you know, like when they beat us, they talk to me for weeks. And I ain't know that, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't like they talked to me beforehand. So just keep that in mind. Like, remember, Zim told y'all, if Commanders win, they talk crazy too. So I think the Lions win this game. The vibes, I think, on both ends, I could see like both of those cities are starving for some winning. So it's gonna be a great atmosphere, I feel like, and I'm excited. I'm actually pretty excited to see that game.
Yeah, the ELO forecast on this one, surprisingly, for those that are to the analytics, the ELO forecast model has this one as the Lions having a 79% chance of winning this one. They're giving the Commanders 21%. They also had that money line or that spread at 9.5, as Zim kind of talked about earlier. Got a super chat here. So it's safe to say if the Commanders win that one, that's a huge upset. That might be the biggest upset of the weekend. Michael Rolfe, $9.99 super chat. Appreciate that, bro. Appreciation for you guys and all you do for the Bengals fan community. Appreciate that, bro. We rocking with you. Let's get into the next one, man. The next one I have here, let's go with Rams Eagles. We kind of talked about that one. Right now, Eagles are favored by 6 in this one. ELO forecast is 71% chance that the Eagles win. To the Rams 29%. I know you got some notes, so I don't want to say anything that you're going to say, but what do you got for the Eagles and Rams right now?
I was going to say that this game, to me, the honeymoon for the Stafford, this is a storyline that people have been telling me about, though. They said, watch this. You know, if Stafford were to win this game and then run into the Lions, people have been telling me about how that would look for the NFL and how they would run that down people's they would run that into the ground if the story of Stafford going back to Detroit and all that. So I do understand that storyline. On paper, though, I just think that the Eagles are just an overpowering bunch of dudes that will punch you in your mouth. I cannot see. I think what the Rams do really well is get after the passer. I don't believe that the Eagles' offensive line is going to allow you to do that. And then I also know that the last time that the Eagles played them, Saquon went off for like 250. That was the last game also that A.J. Brown went over 100 yards in that game too. That was the last 100-yard game that he had. So I just think that the matchups. Now, the thing that could be a little tricky for the Eagles is if they were to get behind on the scoreboard in this game, I don't believe in Jalen Hurts throwing the football. With the problems that they've had and the different things that have happened throughout the season, and just Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, his style of play, that college style read option throwing, I just don't believe in that in a comeback format. Last week, bro had the offensive line giving him the most beautiful pockets, and he threw for 130 yards. Now, mind you, he doesn't have to throw it all over the place. But if they were to get down on the scoreboard with Matt Stafford, who's going to sling that rock around the field, I could see the Eagles getting in some trouble. Would they panic? I don't know. Another observation from that game, the Eagles in that Packers game, they knocked out Jacobs out the game. They knocked out 2 wide receivers out the game, and their secondary flies around and they hit. I do not think that, like, I just feel like the Eagles are just are the most physical team in football. What they did to the Ravens should be an example to everybody. Like, the Eagles are no joke. That is probably the Lions and the Eagles probably had the best rosters in football. So that's like a buzzsaw that's just been waiting to meet up in my mind. And I also have the Eagles beating the Rams in this game. I do recognize the Rams have a little bit of firepower with Puka. I love Kyron Williams. I love the way that he runs the football. I also think Cooper Kupp being healthy too. I just think that secondary is nasty. They're physical. They're going to get Cooper Kupp off his spot. Puka Nacua is going to have to – he would have to have a Jamar Chase level game. He needs to have 200 yards if they want to win this game.
Yeah, I think that this is going to be a game, like you said, that's won in the trenches, right? I think that that's the most exciting part about this game. You're talking about Jared Verse going up against Malayada. You're talking about Lane Johnson versus Byron Young, Kobe Turner. Like, if you're a trenches guy, this is the game that you really want to watch. The game will be won in the trenches in this game. We'll have to see where that goes. But the same is to be said, even though I'm talking about Philadelphia's offensive line, let's not forget about Philadelphia's defensive line that's going to have Montez Sweat, that's going to have Jalen Carter, Smith, Williams, all of these guys that they have at their disposal. And then we're going to get to see Coop versus Coop, right? You talk about Cooper Kupp versus Cooper DeJean. Who's going to win that battle? You talk about Quinyon Mitchell on the outside, Darius Slay. Like, they've got some good matchups on both sides of the skill position area as well. Darius, I know he got hurt and came back, but what is the ramifications of that going to be? I would actually put Quinyon on Puka at this point. I think if you put Slay on Puka, you're asking to get cooked at this point. Higbee, I believe, is injured, so I'm not sure if he's actually going to play for them. But the more and more I actually look into this matchup, you kind of talked about Stafford, Kyron Williams. This is going to be a good matchup, man. Zach Bond, he went crazy last weekend. But this game is going to be in Philadelphia, man. And the fact of the home field advantage, the one thing I can say is you kind of talked about storylines. And another storyline, not to forget about this, is what's happening in LA right now, right? Those guys not having homes to go back to and stuff like that. That's part of this narrative as well. Whereas these guys are also wanting to represent Los Angeles, even though, prayers out to the victims. And if you have any money, definitely be sure to donate it. Winning football games isn't going to cure it, right? But that sends a message to the city of Los Angeles for them trying to do something and make this run if it's possible. So that's part of the narrative too. I just think against Philadelphia, it's a tall order to ask of them. This is a talented team. We saw them win without A.J. Brown really being much of a factor in that game. I don't think that the Rams have the secondary to do that. Now, I do agree with you. That is a way that they can win this game. If you make Jalen Hurts have to beat you and he's having to pass to beat you and you're able to actually get some pressure on him because you are coming off of a 9-sack game last week, sure. That's the only way that I feel like they win this game. I think Philadelphia is the better team. I think that Philadelphia is going to click at this moment, and they're going to become the team that we expected to see them. I didn't see that team last week, but I think that this week they will be that team. And I just wonder if the Rams can stop Saquon Barkley. I don't have faith that they can. I have faith that they can try to get some pressure, but like you just mentioned, this is the best offensive line in football versus one of the top defensive lines. But the other thing is, can that Rams offensive line stop Philadelphia's defensive line? And I don't think that they can. And I think that that's going to be the X factor in the game. I think Quinyon Mitchell is big in this game. I think Cooper DeJean is big in this game. They call him Coop Klux Klan. I think him versus Cooper Kupp is going to be an amazing feat to watch in this one. I'm going to also go with the Philadelphia Eagles in this one. I just, it is a possibility. Like if the Rams do pull the upset, it's a nice story. It also does transition to, like you said, and it's funny because my wife is from Detroit. I talked to her about the possibility of that. Like, what if Stafford and the Lions have to play each other? That would be crazy, right? So it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world for us from an NFL fan experience if that did happen. I don't think we'd all be upset by that. But, yeah, I'm going to take the Eagles in this one too, and that's going to take us to our next game. So our next game, we're going to go with the Chiefs and the Texans. What are your thoughts on the Chiefs and Texans game?
This is another one where we have a big favorite, and I don't see the 9-point spread does scare me. There are some players that the Texans have gotten back that are now healthy. There's a guy, the kid Al Shazier, I think, if I'm saying his name right, the guy that that everybody's classifying as dirty. He reminds me a lot of Burfict. So imagine not having a Burfict in a game, or imagine Pat Mahomes on the sideline and Burfict, he gonna hit him. He could make a big difference in this game. He didn't practice today. So I don't know if he's gonna play. I really want him to play in this game because I think that physicality, you're talking about a team that hasn't played in 25 days. And when they did play, I've never been sold on the Chiefs offense. I just haven't. In the games that they did look okay in, Hollywood's back now. But what's the real chemistry with him like? What the Chiefs do always come out there to do? They try to think about all the games that we ever had with them. They want to throw those quick screens. They want to show you that they're so fast. You get them down to the ground and you make those tackles early in the game, it changes up. Once he doesn't have that, I said this last week, I'm saying it again. The Texans corners are my favorite duo in the National Football League. If the Chiefs get behind in this game, I don't see Mahomes. Lou Anarumo did to him. Is going to look a little different. Those corners, they're allowed to leave them on an island for most of the time. Last year, they give him some help, but Stingley could hang with anybody. Stingley catches like a wide receiver. If you throw one errant throw, how many times you watch a Mahomes game and be like, yeah, bro, he almost had a pick and somebody dropped it. Stingley's not dropping nothing. He's currently right now, he's one of my favorite players in the National Football League, bro. Stingley and Lassiter with the hitting, and you got to think about the pass rush. I talked to you a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about, I forgot what the matchup was, and he was like, yeah, I don't know about the Chiefs, their tackles. So think about this. So now you got Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson. Yeah. And then you got Autry. And then you got, what I'm saying? They throw guys out there. What I don't think that they do really good is stop the run. So you got to think the Chiefs have two very tough runners, and Pacheco and Hunt. Is that enough? Remember, when the Texans got cooked, it was on the strength of Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. The speed, the power, all those things just blew them out the way. I don't feel the same way about Hunt and Pacheco. I think that they could be very effective, but they have to score. And if they score, then I think that Stroud is the guy that he's going to be the odd man out. He's the least, of the four quarterbacks that are left in the AFC side, right? So I'm gonna go with Mahomes in that regard. But if they could get the Chiefs down on the scoreboard, I'm telling y'all, those corners, watch them. It's one of the reasons why when we start talking about the draft, I know I love our cornerback room, but if there's a shutdown corner available at 17, you got to take a hard look at them on the strength of they're game changers, especially at the end of these games. Now, mind you, the Texas pass rush is a little bit better than us, so they'll give their corners more opportunities. But that's the key to me. If the Chiefs, do what the Chiefs do and get out on them or whatever, this isn't a conversation. But if they're a little bit behind and he thinks he wants to test those corners to the boundaries, I think he's going to be in troubles. And he haven't played in 25 days. So let's see how that unfolds. I'm going to go with I'm going to just pick an upset on this one. I'm going to go with the Texans. My heart is telling me that. My analytics is telling me the Chiefs should win this with some weird call at the end or something that goes in their favor. But I'm going to go Texans by a field goal. I like Fairbaum, their kicker. He's pretty good. He missed a kick about 2 weeks ago, but he's been pretty steady for the most part.
Yeah, Azeez Al-Shaair returned to practice today, so he's on track to play. We also got Shaq Mason back.
Watch for Dalton Schultz in this game too. Watch for Dalton Schultz. The targets that went to Mechie last week, watch for Dalton Schultz in this game. I'm sorry.
No, you good. There's a lot of things that can happen in this game. I think looking at this, the pass rushers, right? What is the Kansas City Chiefs' weakness been this season? It's been offensive line. I'd said that going into, I think, the game against the Browns, right? I think that when you talk about what the heart of the Texans is right now, with them not having Stephon Diggs, with them, having injuries at the receiver position like they've been hit up. The heart right now and what won them the game last week was the defense. Now, pass rush had a huge part in that. You talk about Will Anderson, you talk about Danielle Hunter. I don't see an answer on Kansas City's line. On the line, I'm not saying that Andy Reid cannot make play calls where he makes Pat Mahomes get rid of it. That's still on the table. But if you were talking about strictly personnel, I see that completely favoring the Houston Texans right now from a pass rush perspective. Now, the reason that I have the Chiefs winning is from what I've seen with CJ Stroud in terms of him being consistent and him leading that team. I have not seen that from him, right? Like he's had his ups and downs this season. I cannot pick him over Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid with how well their offense should play. Now, does that mean that they don't have a chance to win in this game? Absolutely, I think that they do. Because we're talking about Hopkins. You talked about Stingley. Stingley's playing like a top corner right now. Lassiter is playing like if it wasn't for certain things, he might be getting defensive rookie of the year consideration based off of his ability to pick the ball off. I think that he matches up well with Xavier Worthy, who honestly, like Xavier Worthy hasn't been this unstoppable force that most people expected him to be in the Chiefs offense. He's been manageable. We talked about Hollywood Brown. We really haven't seen Hollywood Brown in this offense. Like it sounds good, it looks good on paper, but we just haven't seen it. And obviously, like you said, they kind of rested their starters. Now maybe that's different because obviously they've been practicing together. I'm not privy to the practices. I'm just expecting Marquise Brown to be a factor. Then you got Travis Kelce. The weak part of this team is their offensive line. Now with them running the ball, I'm not sure what that looks like. You got Pacheco coming off of an injury as well. Now he's rested up. I think that he should be able to do some things. But I do feel confident in the Chiefs offense being able to do some things here. The way that they wreck that is if the offensive line kills them. But I have to feel like Andy Reid has to be somewhat prepared for this one. But this could be something where it's a situation where, like you're talking about, are those cobwebs going to kind of show and rear their ugly head? And if that does happen, that's when CJ Stroud and this team needs to strike and get up on them and put pressure on them. That's the only way I can see the Texans winning this game is pressure on Pat Mahomes, putting pressure on that offense, getting up. Now, this has been a Chiefs team that obviously went 15-2, but they have chinks in the armor. They have looked like there have been points where they've won off of field goals and stuff like that. I don't think that this is the team that gets them. I think that Pat Mahomes, I just trust them more. I trust their defense more. Didn't really talk about that. They've got Chris Jones. And the Texans don't have the best offensive line when it comes down to it, right? Like there's been some issues where the Texans have given up a lot of pressure. I think that Chris Jones may be possibly unblockable in this one. This is going to be a big game for Laramie Tunsil. He's going to have to keep that pressure away from CJ Stroud, and they're going to have to make some plays. Now, Nico is going against Trent McDuffie. I think that's a good matchup to look at. Nico Collins, we'll see what happens. The last time these guys matched up, it was a little tough. I actually thought that the Texans were going to win that game, and then obviously they had the injury. What's the receiver that got injured, Zone?
Tank Dell on the touchdown.
Tank Dell gets hurt.
Tank Dell was having a good damn game against them too.
That changes the whole complexion of that game. And this one is in Arrowhead. For me, it just comes down to Pat Mahomes versus Stroud. And I just can't put the trust in Stroud right now. If the game is in his hands, I hope that he proves me wrong. I hope that this clip goes viral and they pull it off. And they're like, what did you say, Ace? Like, let's do that. But right now, I just can't definitively say I trust CJ Stroud enough to lead this team to a victory. I do trust the defense. Don't trust that. So I'm gonna go with the Chiefers in this one. The Queefers.
Remember Stroud threw 2 picks in that.
Your mic just went out, bro. You said Stroud threw 2 picks in that game, and what else?
Oh, my bad. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I was saying Stroud threw 2 picks in that game. In that game, I think Worthy was the most targeted guy in that game. They weren't throwing like crazy. I think Pat threw 1 touchdown in that game. I don't know, man. I thought Stroud made some mistakes. I think that D'Amico Ryan, like the way that the defense played this past week, makes me just feel different about the game. Where I think they could pull an upset. I think obviously the Chiefs are the better team. I just think there has to be like one upset. That's my one upset of the week.
Yeah. Let's see how it plays out. But yeah, I think that's a cool upset to pick. Let's move to the finale, right? We got the Ravens at the Bills in Buffalo, setting the scene. Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson, probably the biggest game of this week in terms of matchups, right? Like these are two heavyweights that are possibly like Vegas Super Bowl favorites, both playing each other. What are your thoughts on this one? This is the one that's the closest one out of all of them. There's a 54% chance that it says that the Ravens win, according to the ELO forecast. Bills have a 46% chance. And then we're looking at a point spread that's just 1.5 points to the Ravens.
I think that this game is everything you're looking for in a matchup. You got the two MVP candidates. We got a familiar foe in the Ravens, of course, right? It's so many storylines out of here. I think, and I said this earlier when I was on the AFC North roundtable. The way that this game has been framed, as far as like the masses, is like they're and I buy it to a certain extent. Is everybody's talking about how Lamar has Derrick Henry, how Lamar has all the Pro Bowlers, all the All Pros dominating that last year and this year. The rosters from this year and this year, arguably, like this year has way better offense. Last year had way better defense. The defense has come along. Like after week 11, they made their changes. Marcus Williams, like, out of there. Kyle Hamilton now playing the deep thirds. All these different things that they've done to change up their defense, and then the ability for them to stop the run is one of the main things that I think is going to actually propel them to the victory, I guess. But I'm going to tell you, the way that they're making it seem like Josh Allen doesn't have weapons, like he doesn't have one of the best OCs in football, like he doesn't have one of the best multi-purpose running backs in football, like he doesn't have, like he's still got an older Von Miller and Russo and all those dudes like that. His weapons, think about if Joe Burrow had Dawson Knox. Like that alone, like Dawson Knox for the Bengals will cook. You know what I'm saying? Or think about like Joe Burrow had a Kincaid, Keon Coleman. Amari Cooper is your 4th, 5th wide receiver, but they're not Pro Bowlers. And so the media is like telling everybody that the Ravens are so much better. And there's validity to that. But at the same time, bro, I just think they're setting Lamar up with so much pressure. If he does not win this game, you're going to look at his playoff record. You're going to look at all the different things that he's done to this point and say he failed. Like he has to win a Super Bowl. I think they've taken so much pressure off of Josh Allen. They've said, hey, this is a rebuild year. You lost Stephon Diggs and all this other stuff. They made it so that Josh Allen could just walk out of here unscathed and be like, yeah, we'll get him next year. You know what I'm saying? But I wanted to ask you that same question. Who do you think has more pressure on them?
I would probably say that it's Lamar Jackson at this point, just because I think him being a third-time MVP, and I think that that's how it'll play out unless they do give it to Josh Allen, just 2-time MVP period, to not have at least at minimum a Super Bowl appearance, it does not validate you as the best player in the NFL. Now, whether that's fair or not, you can argue with whoever you want to, but we're not here for the regular season. We're here for the postseason. That's why we're here right now talking about other teams, because this is what it comes down to when it's all said and done. So I think the pressure is more so on Lamar Jackson, especially because of the playoff record. Well, we're talking about 3 wins. He doesn't have a winning record right now. Josh Allen's record is 6-5, right? Lamar doesn't have 6 playoff wins. Lamar doesn't have a situation and circumstance where he's put up these godly performances. And so this is his opportunity to do that. So I think there's more pressure right now on Lamar Jackson than Josh Allen.
I agree. I mean, and I just think that everything that's led up to this, and I just seen Lamar throughout the season, he's almost kind of tight too. Like, I'm not gonna say tight like I think he's nervous, but tight like he's got this murderous spirit to him. Like, you know how Joe Burrow gets like all like, you know what I mean? Like, he's got a murderous look in his eye. Josh Allen looks a little bit more relaxed. I don't know how that's gonna play out. I just don't know. But the bigger takeaway I think from this game, I think the game's a little bit lower scoring than what people think. We could check with BETUS, but I think the over-under is like 54. I got the game at like 24-21. I think that it's a game of possessions. The Bills are going to want to run the football like they did last week. So I don't see like a high-scoring crazy game like how we played them. Maybe it's a crazy fourth quarter, like similar to the Bills and Chiefs from years 2021. But I really feel like this is going to be a game where both teams want to possess the football. And I just think that it slows the game down. And I don't think it really comes down to the quarterbacks per se. But I will say this: the only way that I think that the Bills can win this game is if Josh Allen goes nuclear. And it's not because of lack thereof talent. It's just that the Ravens stop the run so well. And if you're establishing your whole game plan on stopping Cook, I mean, come on, bro. We play the Ravens. When you go to throw on the Ravens defense, it's got to be It can't be like, oh, I'm just improvising. That's how Lou Anarumo was cooking Josh Allen and Pat Mahomes. He's waiting for you to improvise. Your throws have to be on time. You have to be accurate. Think about the games if you're a Bengals fan in here watching, which I hope you guys are, and my ops, even if you're a Ravens fan. Think about the throws that Burrow made in that game, right? Remember the throw that he threw to Yoshi, like 40 yards down the field over there on the right-hand side? He dropped the joint like 40. You got to make throws like that. And it's not just arm strength. It's got to be accuracy. And if he wants to go and run, Roquan and them dudes like that, it was cool trucking people in the regular season. They're going to make you pay for a couple of them runs. So Josh going to have to do that all game to me. And in my mind, I just can't see it. If the Ravens' run defense wasn't as good as it is, I think that the Bills, I would probably have them as to win this game. But because so much is going to depend on Josh Allen throwing, I just can't see them pulling this game out. And the thing is, think about the last time that they played. They got behind. And how Burrow plays, even when Burrow was trying to come back last year, right? When we played them early in the season, these are on-time throws in between 3 and 4 defenders. That's the way that the Ravens have set you up. If you're throwing a check down, it can't be early. If you throw the check down early, watch how those check downs look. The Ravens are going to corral to that. They want you to throw that. If you're going to throw a check down, it has to be on schedule, a planned check down, like a variance of a screen. They want you to throw that. They have the athletes to get out to that. Josh Allen, he doesn't play on time. His game is, let me get out and do something incredible. The athletes on the other side, I just think that they want to smoke with that. And I can't see that going on for four quarters. But that's what makes the playoffs so beautiful. Will he be the Superman that Tony Romo says as he's jiggling his balls all the way down the field? Who knows? Tune in this weekend to find out.
Yeah, man. I think for this one, when it comes down to it, the key for the Ravens is going to be to run the football. They've gone out of their way to do that. They showed that last game. Derrick Henry had 186 yards. I don't think the Buffalo Bills have an answer for Derrick Henry. I just truly don't think that their defense can stop them. This is a game that's also where there's a chance of snow showers. Like, bro, if it's a snowstorm or snow showers in this game, I'm taking the team that runs the ball better, and that's the Baltimore Ravens in this one. I think it's already tough for you to have to take on stopping Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson just in open field. Now you're adding snow to that as well. I just don't know how that works out for them. It's in Buffalo, so they're going to have an advantage from a home field advantage standpoint. But I agree with you. The route to Buffalo winning this game, Josh Allen has to go nuclear. I'm talking 4 or 5 touchdowns total. They could be, you can have 2 rushing, you can have 3 passing. He's got to do it, and they've got to be able to take advantage of this Ravens defense. The issue is the Ravens defense is playing really good right now, and I just don't see Josh Allen picking them apart like that. because the last time they played, he didn't even do it against the Ravens defense that's nowhere near as good as it is right now. Guys like Kyle Hamilton, guys like Justin Matabuke, guys like Marlon Humphrey are going to be important in this game. You talk about Humph possibly being on Shakir, who is basically their number one receiver, or Kincaid. They're going to have to do some things in this game to try to put the pressure on that Baltimore defense. And for Zach Orr, this is where it really matters. He did a great job against Russell Wilson and that offense. That's not hard to do because a lot of people were able to stop them. This is a real test now. I think if you're wanting to prove something, Josh Allen, you're wanting to prove that you're worthy of an MVP. You're worthy of getting back to facing the Chiefs again in the conference if it goes that way. But I think I just look at the Ravens and what they have over on that defense, Van Noy, and I just can't see Josh Allen going nuclear on it. Now, I could be wrong. We'll see. But I just don't know if they have enough to stop Derrick Henry, and I don't know if they have enough to stop what they have going on. We've talked about this during the season. Like, I don't think that the Buffalo Bills have what it takes to beat the Baltimore Ravens. And I think that's – I honestly, I feel more confident with the Bills against the Chiefs than I do the Ravens. I think the Ravens just match up very well against them.
And the crazy thing is, I like the Chiefs versus the Ravens. It's all matchups. It's all matchups. Like, this is all matchups. I think the Chiefs, I love that matchup for the Chiefs to beat the Ravens. And with the, like, if that were the round right now, I think the Chiefs would like go and knock them out. Or if that's the what we see next round, I think Chiefs beat the Ravens and go to a bowl. I really do, because I think that they have what you need to have to like go beat a Ravens team. There's only a couple different quarterbacks I think that could cook the Ravens. Like, I say that even though the Ravens lost to the Raiders, but that was earlier in the season. But you know what I mean? Like, now the way that they're playing, and then you got to be able to keep up with them. I think if Pat is forced to keep up with him, he can. Josh, I just don't buy when he's on and they're running it up on somebody. He would look like the greatest quarterback you've ever seen. When they're running up on somebody, it's unstoppable. If they're not, I'm not saying that he can't come back, but when you're playing against those top defenses, I don't know if y'all seen his record in the playoffs. He feasts on those wild card games. His record against the big dogs is not a good one.
1-3 in the divisional round. I looked this up earlier. Yep. Like, it's a difference.
He's a wild card merchant, is what they said. But all kidding aside, though, it's not to say that he isn't capable of. But when you're playing better defenses, you're forced to do some things that you don't normally do, and that's what makes Mahomes special. That's what makes Burrow special. Josh Allen, regardless, he gonna want to truck a person or two, and he gonna want to throw that ball deep down the field, check down things. Is more strategic as he's been this season. That's not what I think he wants to do, and I just think that's what's going to show up this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Ravens' game plan is keep Josh Allen off the field. How do you do that? Running the football. So I think Josh Allen is not only going to be playing the Ravens, he's also going to be going against the clock in this one. Time of possession is going to be a huge factor, I think, in this game. We don't have a bet of the week, so let's go ahead and do that. Wincy play of the week. The first time we're doing one of these without the Bengals, so let's take a look at what we got here. Which game did you want to go with?
You want to do something? Let's just do like we should parlay all four of them.
Parlay all four of them?
Like the money line on all four.
Money line on all
we
four.
Could go all chalk, or we could go based off of what I just said on the show, right? I picked the one upset. I bet you that $100 bet with the upset, with that Texans upset included in it, probably would yield you probably about $800 or so, I'm sure.
I actually have a betting rule myself. I don't ever bet against Pat Mahomes unless it's the Bengals against them.
I wouldn't do that either. Yeah, you're right. I wouldn't bet against Pat. I wouldn't bet against Ron Tolbert either. So if old Ronnie 5 Downs is out there.
Let's go Ravens Bills, because I think that might be some stuff that we can take a look at. Let's see what we got here. Ravens, Bills. Let's see what we got. That boy said, I'm a Raven. It's on. I'm a Raven. We about to get it popping. All right, so let's look at the game props here. How about the first scoring play of the game? Because you get some pretty good returns on that one.
Derrick Henry.
Ravens touchdown. So you want to
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry.
Always start off with him scoring, bro. They always start off with him scoring.
Derrick Henry is the first touchdown scorer.
Yes, bro. Derrick Henry first. Derrick Henry. They always start on that. Remember last time they played the Bills? Remember first play of the game, Derrick Henry 90-yard run. The Ravens like to start off. They like to start off every single game that they have. They like to give you a long drive, beat the hell out of you, and then at the end give it to Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry first touchdown score is plus 425. Lamar Jackson is plus 1100. So we going D-Hen.
D-Hen, bro.
D-Hen. All right, let's put 100 on that. Shout out to BETUS for sponsoring the show. Let's get this going. All right. They only letting us put 23 on it. Cool. 23 to bring back 120. Let's see. All right. We got the first down touchdown score of Derrick Henry. Is that all we're going with? That's going to be the Wincy play of the week?
What else you feeling?
I don't know. I wanted to see what else they have. It's loading up right now. Let's see. All right. So we got that bet placed. Let's see what else they got here. So other ones we're seeing, let's see. Rushing. Derrick Henry to have at least 107 rushing yards is plus 114. I think I like that one, bro. I think I'm going to take the D-Hen over 107 yards. For you to be able to put up 100 and get 114 back or whatever you want to put up, I feel like that's easy money, bro. With what Derrick Henry is doing, he's at least getting 100. All it takes is for him to break one of those long runs. You talking about possible snow game? Like that's free money on the table. So I'm going to go ahead and take D-Hen. So you pick the D-Hen first touchdown. Yeah, I'm going with D-Hen over 107 yards. I feel like that's free money, bro. I'm going to just be real with you. So those are going to be our Wincy plays of the week, unless you had another one you wanted to run on another game or something like that.
You want to do like a Saquon prop? I think he's going to run pretty well. If they
let's look at the Eagles.
If they got something for Saquon over like 70, 80 yards, I think we should be all over that.
All right. Let me see. Eagles. Hold on. Let me get to the props. So if you guys don't know, if you're trying to figure out how to get to the props, you have to go over to Prop Builder, find your game, highlight that, and then you're going to go over to, if you're looking for rushing like Saquon, you go here. And this is a difference because sometimes they have over and unders, and then this is where you actually get to pick. You get more options here, but your options change given what it is. So we don't get pluses until we get to Saquon 122 yards plus. That one is going to return 112. You got 112 itself for minus 117. You get 102 for minus 176. So this is probably one I would probably parlay. But what are you thinking about the odds in the play from this game with Saquon? Or let's take a look at his anytime touchdown. Anytime touchdown looks like it's minus 200. On it. You get plus 250 if he gets 2 touchdowns though.
It's tough to bet that though. Like 2 tutties. 2 tutties is. Let's do it.
2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
You sure? You don't sound like you.
I think everybody this whole weekend he's going to perform better than like all those guys. I think he's the guy. out of all the stars that's going to perform like better than all of them. That's why I mentioned them, I guess.
2 touchdowns for Saquon at plus 250.
Let's do it.
Let's run it. So you put up a 20 piece or you put up 100, you're going to get 250. It's going to bring you back. So those are the Wincy plays of the week. So shout out to BETUS once again for sponsoring the show. We appreciate them. And with that being said, I want some chicken wings, man. It's time to bring in Midwest Best Barbecue.
Wings and them CTVs. Midwest Best is the place to be for queuing wings. Midwest Best is the place to be for queuing wings. It's the AC to the Zim, M into the B's. Uno wings, G-Funk wings, and them CTVs. Midwest Best is the place to be for queuing wings. Midwest Best is the place to be for queuing wings. Say what up to Jordan Battle. We be going to battle. Intercepting balls like CTB did on Seattle. Putting 6 up on AZ. Juice gang amazing. Make sure you come get these wings. The Zimby stay blazing. And T-Game be smooth as ice. Jamal making DBs fold. TB got big levels. And now you already know. It's so pretty for Uno wings. Cam got the new wings. We call them CTBs. Only at MBs. H to the Zim. M into the B's.
Shout out Midwest Best Barbecue 669, Justice Court in Loveland, Ohio. Brisket fries, Grippo wings, Cuban wings, sour cream and onion wings. They got it all, bro. Whatever that you want, you can get some ice cream. Shout out to the Ohio 513. He know what time it is. He letting me know everything down here in the comments, man. And that's why if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure that you guys hit us with a thumbs up. We appreciate that. But stop in at Midwest Best Barbecue. While we on the couch, wait for some of these other teams to join us on the couch. Why not enjoy that with Midwest Best Barbecue? So shout out to them. Shout out to Tim and Nicole holding us down. That's going to do it for this episode of the Wincinnati podcast. Thank you guys so much for rocking with us. Got over 1,000 live viewers. Appreciate you guys supporting the brand. We're just trying to give you guys the best take. And we're also showing you guys that we could talk ball and make the Bengals relevant while doing it at the same time. So we appreciate y'all for coming through, and we appreciate y'all for tuning in. Zim, was there anything that you wanted to say before we get out of here, bro?
The rooting guide for the weekend, I think, God, it's going to be nasty. I was going to say Chiefs. Give me Texans. The non-analyst, I don't need Josh Allen or Lamar having bragging rights over Burrow. So I need them to, both of them at some point, I need them to get out and don't even go to the bowl. So go Texans. And I don't even care about the NFC side. I think the NFC is going to win the Super Bowl. So go Texans.
That's what we really need. That's what we really need.
Give me Texans versus Lions for a bowl and Texas win or something. Like, remember, I was you still got beef with the Texans from years ago. I think most of our fan base kind of forgot about that.
I still got beef with them. Yeah.
Go Texans, bro.
Yep. Do their thing though. Shout out to you guys for listening to the Wincinnati podcast.